All right, let's see how this works out because it's raining outside and as opposed to raining inside, it's definitely not raining inside because I don't have a hole in this roof, or at least down here. There's one up in the loft in this mighty building I call a garage. We will be joined by Pat, hopefully. Um, he's there's a storm going on in this area, a thunder and lightning storm. So he's got kids that he has to comfort in this time, and Jacob also is going to be joining us. Um, but he also has kids that he is comforting in this time of storm. So my kids are fine. I'm assuming they're as long as the internet's still on, they'll be playing their video games and probably won't even notice this is going on with their headphones on and such. But I'm out in the garage and I'm hearing it. I'm feeling the cool air that comes with it, and I felt the raindrops strike my head as I walked out to the garage. It's poetry for you. It's poetry that happens when Andre's by himself, waiting for other people to join. I was hoping to get Andy Michigan, who owns Centerpoint Martial Arts, but he had some last minute things that he had to take care of, so he was not able to make it, which is too bad. But I'm definitely gonna have a conversation with him and uh, give him an opportunity to share his wonderful, beautiful self with the world that is you. Um, man, I want to stop this just to check and verify that the audio is picking up fine. But at the same time, I don't want to deal with two different files, like I've been dealing with the other times I've recorded on this. So um, we're gonna do it the smooth and efficient way and not pause and stop. I'm just gonna assume that everything that has been set up has been set up correctly. And again, I need a producer because this is not my forte. I'm doing it. I'm making it happen. This is true, but I would prefer to not be doing it because I the passion in making this perfect is not here for me. Um, but why would anybody else have the passion to make something that is not spewing out of their mouth perfect? So maybe the producer has to be a co-host if there's as mindset similar to me as I am, whatever that means. I was talking to somebody about doing some video production because you're mostly my, it is quite possible that you are listening to this and which, in which case it is the audio portion of the video, um, Zoom call. Oh, yeah, I don't know if Pat's gonna make it. I mean, we just got an update and it doesn't sound good. Oof. All right. So yeah, that was the update from I mean maybe Pat will join, but it doesn't look like he's in a necessarily a good spot to join. Or at least not right now, which is fine. Um, what was I saying just before that though? Oh yeah, the audio part. So if you're listening to this, you're really just listening to the audio portion of the Zoom call that we've had. Um, And usually when, so if Pat and I are just recording, we won't do a Zoom call. We'll just, if he's here, and he always has been here, or we've been in the same spot, we'll just record it on FL Studio directly. But when somebody's not available to be here, we'll do a Zoom call. Whoops. Yeah, Zoom call if somebody is there. If somebody's not here, I should say. Um, and what's nice about that is it saves two files for you. Zoom does, or at least the plan that I have, it does. Um, so I've got the video file, but I've also just got the audio file. Um, so what I plan to do is figure out a good way to have a video element to this, but I probably won't do Zoom though. I'll figure out something else to record it. But I was looking for a video producer. I was like talking to somebody who we're going back and forth, but I don't think we were on the same page as to what he's up for doing, and I don't even know really what I want to be done. But whatever. That's a whole other story for a whole other not time. It's not even that big of a story. I guess it's a story in development. Um, so once it's done being developed, that story will be told at a whole other time. Sure. All right, I'm kind of hungry, so I'm gonna run inside and grab something to eat real quick and just leave this recording, and I'll be able to edit it right out later. And I'm back with food in my hand, saltines, because I'm hungry. Saltines might be the best, or I'm sorry, the worst choice to eat while recording because it just dries up my mouth, and I can't even pretend to talk with a not mouthful. And the crunch is probably, does it pick up? Let's find out. Ooh, I should have got some water too, or something. Mm. Oh, Jacob Hutton has arrived. Hello. You're muted.
I'm the typical guy that's muted in the meeting.
I was gonna say you're like at work all of a sudden. Like I got to do the you're muted thing.
Why am I so
Question: how's the sound on this? Because I got the rain behind me and thunder every now and again.
sounds fine?
Okay, cool.
I'm blurry though, so hold on. All right, that's better.
Boom. So what's up? You're finally on.
I'm finally on. My bad it took so long. I had a late work meeting, and then Liam wanted, mommy daddy time, and before we know it was bedtime, and he didn't want to go to bed. Surprise, surprise.
Makes sense. Pat actually, he was running into his own parenting issues. So I'm the only one who's not a good dad tonight. Just
All good, man. You have older kids.
I was thinking about it earlier. They have their headphones on, playing their video games, and are so into their own world they probably don't even know that the thunder's going on and the rain's coming down. So
No, they probably don't. They're probably so deep of it, like Minecraft, whatever they play.
has the rain gotten up to your area yet?
Oh yeah, it downpoured so much so that I actually found out I have a crack in my basement, and
Oh.
I need to get sealant to fix it. That's how much rain we've gotten.
We had that in our basement, and we used like quick dry cement or something like that. There's like some purple bucket thing. I don't remember exactly. One of my buddies had it and gave me the bucket, and it worked out pretty well. So
I might do that, and then there's like a sealant. You probably see on the outside of foundations. It's that thin black layer right below the dirt or above the dirt. You see, they cover the whole way down to the when they first put up like the slabs and the walls and everything with that sealant to help protect the concrete from the water penetrating. I live in a very much, you've been to my house, I live in an area where it's very wet, and when it rains, it just stays on the surface. It doesn't like drain anywhere, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to put an additional layer on the inside, and then I plan on, doing the 2x4s, put some sheetrock up and everything afterwards. But I can't put that stuff up until I seal it all, put stuff like this.
right.
That crack, it's been within the last month, because we've been so dry, it's been settling.
Yeah, that sucks. So when and this is, you may not know the answer, maybe you do. A leach field, is that like what basically that is when the water doesn't have any place to drain, or is that something specific?
So the leach fields, when you flush your toilet, so it goes into your septic tank, and then the water goes into your leach field. A leach field should have good filtration system and like a sand bed, which I do have. My whole property is actually on sand, but the problem is the water table is right to the sand. So even though it's great filtration, the water can't go anywhere because it's already going to the water bed. So here's the sand, here's the water bed. It's very little for it to like maneuver around. Well, in most places you put sand down, the water bed's way down here, right? You can't see it, and the water just goes down to the water bed, and you're fine. But in the swampy area I'm in, it doesn't work that way. It takes much longer for the water to disperse.
That's super fun.
It's super fun. Like I have a sump pump, and I have a backup sump pump, and I'm actually going to be by a backup main sump pump.
Yes.
And I have a generator.
You say you do have a generator or don't?
I do. I have to have a generator because like the wet season, my sump pump will turn on every 5-10 minutes to pump 60 gallons a minute out of my basement.
Do you have, is it yours pretty loud or quiet?
The sump pump is pretty quiet. You can't really hear it. The generator though, that's very loud.
Our sump pump, the only reason I ask is like ours will go off not super regularly, but like on a time like this when there's a lot of rain coming down, I'll definitely notice when it goes off, and it's downstairs 2 flights into the basement, but I still hear it. But it may just be because it's middle of the night and I never hear that sound.
Right. And then there's no commotion going on in your household.
Right. Hopefully. So Jacob, we got to talk business. Like, I took a look at your text that you sent me, the couple little points on the things that you were talking about, and then I forgot it. I have it with me, but it's also like super interesting, so I don't even care. Just at a high level though, like let's just kind of go over an introduction for anybody who doesn't know you.
Oh, of course.
What's your what do you do? What do you say you do here?
What I do day in and day out is I work for a consulting firm called Information Resources Inc., or the acronym IRI, which most people will be more familiar with. They consult for manufacturers and retailers. Right now, I'm in the manufacturing vertical in BWS, so beer, wine, spirits. So I help wine clients currently with their data needs, helping to breach the gap between manufacturers and retailers, because there's some data gray spots. Where's the data coming from? Is it reliable? Is it a true source of data? Or someone manipulating it to make it look like they're selling more wine than they really are. So that's where IRI comes in, and is the data source of truth for both manufacturers and retailers, and that's what I do day in and day out. A little bit more in depth, I mean, I guess I could say I work with data models and so forth. So if the data models go down, I help with open IT tickets, work engineering, and then work with the client and be the interface for the client and the software engineering team.
So with that, yeah, it sounds like you work with data, like a
Yes.
lot of data. And then, so you're working with different data sets from all your different clients, like, or do you have like a format that you ask them to bring it into you at, or do you?
That's correct, Andre. So there's a format they bring into us. So they have the raw data feeds. It could be binary. It could be, any source of data, and then they provide it to IRI, and our engineering teams take it, cleanse it, and then put it into a unified tool. Essentially, it's a platform where they can go in and access the data. And we also have like a custom database where they bring the data in, and then we also have a syndicated database where IRI goes out to retailers and gets data points and so forth. So it's a mix of both, to answer your question.
So yeah, that's cool, because the reason I ask is I know I've worked in places where I'm dealing with, where I've dealt with data that I've got to get from different clients along the way, and we go for that that standardized approach. We say, this is what we need, fill up this spreadsheet, let's say. Not quite as like basic, but that's the general idea. But there are still some of those clients that you have to have that conversation with to really understand, because they don't understand where their data is. Like they'll say, yeah, I can fill out these things, but I don't even know how that relates to what my data is. Do you work with the clients at all on your end in any sort of consulting role on that, or is it kind of they'll figure it out? Oh, you muted yourself.
Yep, sorry, my bad. So we have teams that do that. So we have different like cross-functional teams that would be like work with their IT infrastructure, cross-functional teams to organize that. I'm not so much on that forefront of it due to the fact I'm not that tech savvy. I'm tech savvy, but not that good. It's more I'm client facing, so my role is technically a client service analyst. So I have a subset of clients. Within those subset of clients, I help them with their models, custom or syndicated. Syndicated means it's a shared database. I help them with all the data needs, any questions within the model, with defining measures and so forth, why certain measures don't work well with others, how to pull the visualizers, how to manipulate the visualizers to understand the data better or more fluently, and help them tell a story with the data. So if there are a manufacturer for, say, let's say it's P&G, because everyone knows P&G or Nestle, they're trying to launch a new product, and they want to describe how they believe the trends will happen in the market, because we can predict 4 to 8 weeks out based on projection tools. They can go to the retailer and present this story of these visualizers and this data sets, and be like, this is what we believe based on IRI market data, how this product will do based on similar products that have sold around this time, around this demographic or so forth. That's where I more help with mostly help with, not so much, the binary flat files that come in, and
Right.
software engineers have to go in and cleanse the data.
Yeah. Yeah, you're into that analytical side and figuring out, now that you have the data, what do you do with it?
Exactly.
So, how long have you been doing this? How many years about?
I'm doing this for about 2.5 years.
Nice. So in that time, like you talk about the stories that you try to develop and you're trying to tell that story for your client. Are there common stories that you see along the way in a variety of your clients, or do you find a lot of variety in it?
I find a lot of variety in it, because previously I came from a retailer. So how they look at data is completely different how the manufacturers look at data. So retailers very much look at data in an aspect of, we have so much shelf space. How do we utilize the shelf space? How do we maximize the most ROI for each inch on the shelf? And they also do analysis on, can retail manufacturers even provide the product? You know what I mean? So they're looking at multiple different views, different ways, just every single little product, right down to, they have 50,000 UPCs in the store, throughout the year, between the in and outs and the not, to the shelf stable stuff, or the core items, excuse me. Where manufacturers, so like my wine manufacturer right now, right? They have, I think it's 350 wines. That's it.
Yeah.
So you go from 50,000 UPCs down to 350. The analysis changes completely because they're not looking at so many UPCs. They're not looking across so many different categories. They're not looking at so many in and outs. They're super hyper focused on 350 UPCs that they know everything about. So I find that I actually find the manufacturing side more interesting due to that fact that they're so hyper focused and they're very well educated on data and how to use it.
Mm-hmm. So when you're dealing with 350 versus 350,000 UPCs, and that's typically just you're saying that's basically based on industry, like from a retail perspective compared to a
Right, because like a
manufacturing
retail
perspective.
store would have 50,000 UPC. I mean, yeah, 50,000 UPCs, where the manufacturer only creates 350 wines. So
Right.
how your category managers or your insight managers or your directors are looking at the data is completely different.
So in those situations, what kind of differences are driving those sales? So, because I looked at it and I think a wine manufacturer has a UPC of a wine that they manufacture, and so this may be where I'm looking at it different or wrong. I'm thinking from the sales perspective, like you want to figure out how much it costs to put out that UPC versus how much profit you're getting out for that UPC. I don't see how that's necessarily different on the retail side, or so how does that differentiate?
There's slight discrepancies. So for wine example, wine can be created in California, but the region of where those grapes come from is different. Everyone knows that a Napa Valley, California wine is expensive because Napa Valley is known for the quality of grapes. Due to that, the wine gets more expensive. So the analysis goes so far to where the product was made and how much percentage of the Napa Valley was put into this bottle of wine.
Okay.
Whereas retailers don't look at region or they look at geos a little bit, but there's more focus, like you said, the sales aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So like manufacturers of wine, for example, they want to see if they change the blend from say 75% Napa Valley to 25% Sonoma, and then they go, okay, well, instead of doing 25% Sonoma, let's do 100% Napa Valley. Let's increase the cost of creating this wine, say by $1 a bottle.
Yeah.
And does that actually increase the amount of sales per, a year, 52 weeks? They're looking at how the customers are reacting to the slight changes in their products. Versus, which does translate to sales, that you're right. But where a retailer is not looking at those small, little, tiny details so much. if you're a category manager in wine, you really don't care if that wine is 100% Napa Valley or 25% Sonoma. You, at the end of the day, you mentioned, you care about how many bottles of wine did you sell in X amount of stores.
Right. Do you think that there would be value in looking at that kind of stuff from that retail side? Because
Not really.
to me, I look at it, and so if you look at it just from that one wine or that one store or whatever, and you're trying to figure out what the differences are that come through. I mean, maybe you don't get down to that level of if the grapes come from
That's
Napa
the
Valley
issue.
or not.
They don't have the time of the day to go down to that level because they have so many SKUs to look at or so many UPCs to look at. They just don't have the time or the labor force to do that because they have too much data essentially. When you look, or when you bring back your data points to only 350, you
Yeah.
can really get down in the weeds. As you know, less data means you can really analyze it.
Mhm.
And figure out what is the issue, how can you capitalize on different aspects of the product and so forth. But when you, like I said, I'm pulling from my own experiences. Maybe, someone with in the category wine management space and retail could state otherwise.
Mhm.
But I feel like they have too much wine to look at or too many alcoholic beverages because at least the BWS world, everyone's creating something new. I mean, how many breweries do we have in Maine alone, microbreweries?
Right. Yeah.
Something new is always coming out. And the same can be said in the wine world. I mean, in my role, every month we have new item reports, and we're never under 250 new wines hitting the market every month. So if you think about that, 250 wines times 12, and how many wines are already out there, you just don't have the time to look at each wine down to that level of where are they coming for the region, and does that region really make an impact at the retail level? The manufacturers have the time because they have less SKUs. Retailers, they don't.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Because like you said, like that 350,000 versus 350. Yeah, there's no way you can. And with that, like you said, if they're coming in every month, another 10 or even 5 more every month, just somebody to keep up with that would be a lot.
Yeah, because you're thinking that you're not just looking in line now. Most people who deal with beer, wine, spirits deal with the beer, the wine, the spirits, and the cigarettes.
Mhm.
So I mean, that's like one category within the retail world. Just like
At the same
dairy.
time, I kind of think of like, I don't know, like Amazon's like the easy pick on it. And like they have their data centers and stuff are set up in a way that they're able to manage all of that somehow, some way. And
Amazon's a little
however
different.
that's what's that?
Amazon's a little different. They're a little different. Remember, Amazon, people know what they want when they go shop at Amazon.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they want, or if they don't know exactly what they want, they search and browse best on best sellers
Yeah.
that Amazon puts out, and then they usually buy the best seller if they don't exactly know what they want.
And that's kind of what end capping is though, right?
That's essentially what end capping is.
Yeah. So why don't we give a better definition for the layman's out there that don't know what end capping is?
So end capping in a grocery retail environment is when you walk around a grocery store, at the end of the aisles, you have end caps, or the ends of the aisles, essentially. And usually there's displays or shelving units there where retailers partner with manufacturers to put products they want to promote and sell. It happens at every retail establishment, even at Sam's Club, Walmart, and so forth. And these products are usually on promotion. They have usually $1 or 50 cents off. They usually have big signage to draw your attention, and they want you to buy this product. It's either, they have a surplus of the product, they need to get rid of it, or if it's they bring out a new product and they want you, to have your eyes on it. It's also on the end cap. It's also on the shelf within the aisles as well. It's in 2 places, so it has more visibility. Manufacturers also spend quite a bit of money to get their products on the end caps. It's not free at all.
Yeah, I used to, when I worked for work delivering Budweiser, I'd have to set up all kinds of displays and end caps during the busy seasons, and it was good times, so fun.
So much good times. When I worked in Hannaford, in a retailer, yeah, I set up a lot of end caps because they did. I think was it every 2 months or so they change end caps, and go through the whole store and change all the end caps. And like Andre just said, the only ones you didn't have to change was the DSD ones because the salesman came in and fixed that.
Yeah, that was us.
Those are my favorite end caps because I just took the product off and I had to touch them.
I used to love seeing all the managers walk around with their little papers, the little folders with the sheets on it, with the end
I
cap.
hated
Like
that.
I didn't want to use them. I'm glad that I didn't have to deal with it.
So back in the day, I thought it was so cool that managers could walk around a piece of paper and like criticize those people's work. And I got to that level, I'm like, this is so annoying. I don't like this.
Worst job ever.
But on the flip coin of it, I've told you, Andre, in previous conversations, I love merchandising. Like I'm completely fascinated by it. Like the way that marketing teams merchandise product to have consumers purchase them as impulse sales completely blows my mind of like how it gets down to the granular level, how people think, how people purchase product. So it's a 2-coin flip. I don't think I'd rather be the person putting it on the shelf, but I definitely love the ins and outs of it.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta see if I can turn up my TV. The rain just decided to start coming down heavier.
I can't hear any of it.
All right, Jacob, top. You can't hear me. Mic's actually pretty good. I'm actually pretty impressed with this mic. Because if I talk from where I was talking, which is not far from the mic, I don't think you could hear me at all.
Barely can hear you. And by the way, I love your keyboard. It draws my eyes.
The flashy keyboard. Somebody, I was on a call with somebody else earlier, and they noticed that is that a light up keyboard? I was like, yeah, it is.
I actually now I want one. Let me guess, you bought it on Amazon.
No, this came
No.
straight from Ducky. Ducky is the name of the manufacturer. It's a mechanical keyboard, and one of the boys had wanted it, but we got him the wrong color, and so we got him another one. And Dominic ended up taking this one instead, but then he moved rooms and stuff, and I found this just sitting in a drawer. I was like, sweet, I'll take it.
That's awesome.
It
Repurposing.
worked.
Love it.
It worked out because I was looking for a mechanical keyboard, but I don't like how small it is. It's like truly a kid's keyboard in the sense of like it's all compact, and I have to hit a function key in order to use the arrow button. Like there's no number pad and there's no arrow keys.
Yeah. See, I've gotten spoiled with my number pad on the side of my keyboard. I never used to have that. And I was like, why do people want that? And
Yeah.
now working with data all day in Excel, I'm like, I can't live without it. Like I need it. It just makes your life so much easier.
Yeah, that same thing happened to me with the whatever job I was working. I never used a number pad before, and then I started having to like the keyboard I had it, and I started using it, and then I started learning to type with numbers because I never had thought to learn to type with numbers. I could do keyboard typing, but never like just the number keypad. And once somebody told me about that, I was like, oh, this is a whole new world. So now when I go to a keyboard that doesn't have the number, I'm lost. I'm just like,
So this might be getting off topic, but I was in Excel today, and maybe it's just me not using all the hotkeys. I noticed when you open Excel, and okay, let me back up. Your mouse, okay? You know this little piece right here? You scroll
Yep.
up and down. I didn't realize when you go side to side, it moves over columns.
What?
So if you're in Excel, right, and you want to move over columns, I think it moves 3 columns at a time if you just go side to side.
Well, I guess what I mean is like, I didn't realize the mouse clicked side to side. So we're talking about the scroll wheel, right?
Yeah, so you're scrolling, you scroll up and down, right? Up and down. Now go the other way. I can't think tonight because I'm tired.
I gotta open up Excel. Welcome to Excel Talk.
So I go from column A to column D. So I went 3 columns over.
One. So, wait a minute. Oh my goodness.
I found that on accident. So
Yeah.
my son was in here, right? So he wants to climb up on me when I'm working and everything. And I accidentally pushed it sideways, and my whole Excel sheet went sideways on me. Like 2 or 3 times I clicked on accident. And I'm like, how did that happen? And I got playing on my mouse. I'm like, no way. That is so convenient.
Yeah, well, I can't, but I can't do it well. Like,
I think you might need a different mouse. So I have a Logitech mouse, and look, what do you have for a mouse?
this one's a Logitech. It's like a mini Logitech. Well, it's Logi. Maybe it's not Logitech.
So you
Either
might
way.
need like a Logitech. Maybe it's just the how the mouse is formatted.
Yeah, it's got to be like, yeah, I never even thought though that the mouse would have a side button on that, like the
Right. Because
scroll wheel.
you have your hotkeys you can like establish,
Yeah.
but I never know the scroll button. You could just go sideways. I mean, it makes sense now that
Yeah.
I know it, but like to actually use it, I was using it today. I'm like, this is so nice.
It's an awkward feel though. Well, with this mouse, it's an awkward feel. Like it's a very small mouse, but I'm
Right.
gonna have to try that at work tomorrow. That'll be my reason for going into the office, just to mess with the mouse.
Mess with the mouse. You know, I love Excel because you can always find something new. There's always
Yeah.
something like, if I knew that a year ago, you know how much time I would have saved.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have become a huge Excel fan like over the years. And like I've got like 3 books behind me. VBA and macros, Excel 2010 Bible. There's some other Excel book someplace, but like, and then it's nice because I'll pick up stuff and then you'll use it for a while, and then I'll like not use it and then forget about it, and I'll have to do it again. But it's, you go online, a quick Google search, and you'll find anything and everything for Excel and easily pick up where you left off. So
I find with Excel, when it comes to like the writing the formulas, like the if statements and all that good jazz, the stuff that people either love or hate, um, Googling it is the way to go, or YouTube video, because it just saves you so much time.
yeah. Do you use the formula helpers that they use have Excel at all?
Not really, no.
I've tried using them more and more lately just to, because you get bored. It's like, I could Google it. Let's see what you can do, Excel. But it's, I don't know if I, because I've seen videos and read articles where people like live and die by them. They're like, always use your formula helpers. They'll help you. But I feel like a lot of the time when I need to use a formula helper, it's such an obscure formula that it's not explained very well in that little section. So
Yep, 100%. I'm actually in Excel right now. Yeah, I don't use it that much. I mean, I'm also, because of the platform we use at IRI, when I dump data into Excel, it's more of a data dump, and then I'm
yeah,
just doing VLOOKUPs or easy stuff in Excel that most people can do. I'm not getting crazy with the whole if statements and so forth. Um, Before I joined IRI, though, I mean, I was starting to get into writing macros, and that was actually kind of fun. That's
yeah,
like the most text-driven thing I've done, is like starting to write macros, and I know it's old school, but it's fascinating how the code works and how you can take an old macro that no one uses anymore and
hmm,
take the skeleton of it and recreate it.
yeah. Macros are so great, and I know like just with my history of where you've worked, how frequently like that company uses macros in their spreadsheets and stuff, which amazes me compared to where I've worked. They put such a lockdown on security, like you can't have any macro enabled things, and which ultimately slows things down when you need to use, because they come in really handy. But yeah, like you said, it's old school, but a lot of things I don't think Excel is really put forward any tools other than using macros to get some of that stuff done. Like some of like, I've used some helpful macros that like duplicate sheets and stuff. Like when you have to make a workbook that has 15,000 sheets based on a list of things, rather than having to copy all those over, creating a macro does it like that. Yet Microsoft hasn't put anything in place to say, hey, just click this button and duplicate these sheets based on that list.
Right. I think people are trying to get away from macros in that world and try to get more into the syndicated world, and get away from Excel.
Yeah.
That's definitely how, at least the Excel firm I work for, is we use Excel because our clients use Excel. If it wasn't for our clients, we would try not to use Excel at all. Only way we use Excel is the final data dump into an application.
Right.
And then we really don't use Excel. We want to use PowerPoints. So we usually just take our visualizers and the data graphs and dump it into there. That way the client gets away from using Excel, because most times what happens is the clients are so, no matter what the client is, they're so Excel driven from their past, because Excel is everywhere still, that they want to take data from the application and do a massive data dump. Well, our platform's not meant for that. It's meant for visualizers and data sets and so forth. It's not meant to take all your data that you have for that week,
Right.
for all your products, and data dump it. And I'm talking more than just the 350, like I said, previously in my wine manufacturer. I'm talking like the big ones, the big clients that have, tons of items. Well, getting into the details, but
Yeah, that bogs it all down. It's kind of funny how there's still so many places that transfer data that way in between companies, or even like within the company through spreadsheets, because so many other ways. Like you've got, just do direct connections, SQL database pumps or whatever. I know that,
it's the infrastructure.
well, I know that I've seen some people who get worried about the security level and all of that, but you don't have to tie it to production data. Like just map out the data, put it in a safe spot, and then have that connection route.
And you essentially you could take the production data for that week and then throw it into a test environment, send it out, and keep your production going essentially. And that test environment was that snapshot of the data you're sending to somebody.
Yeah. And then you've got a good snapshot of that data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we do it with a lot of our clients. It's literally a snapshot in time, at least in the supply chain world it was. Because supply chain was updated every 2 days, bi-daily. So, it was very much, they didn't want to share the production, like you said, because obviously that's security risk. So it was a snapshot.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. Like how you guys, and I've worked for companies that get data from a bunch of different companies typically. So where I worked, there's a lot of transactional data that you get for the companies, and then that data would be used to do the operations. And then there was never, I don't even know like how legally that works when you have that kind of data. Like what can you even do with that? Like I'm not saying like sell it to other people, but like, do you even know what kind of?
I mean, there's definitely legalities there.
Right.
I wouldn't say I know. I know that it's strictly prohibited, as you and I both know. But I still there's legalities. You don't share the data from one client to another. I can't get too much into that due to the fact I just don't know, because I'm not in there. And at least in the company I work for, IRI, it's called the commercial team. They handle a lot of the legalities of data. And they work with legal counsel.
Yeah. Other people that would know and make those decisions.
And they're a lot higher grade rank than I am for pay scale.
Yeah, that's it. Because I don't know, you think about, I'm trying to take it on a lower level. Like, where's a situation where as a customer, you're buying something, but the ultimate goal of the business is not for what you're buying directly. I mean, there's a lot of examples. I can't think of any right off the top of my head though.
I guess I'm not following what you're throwing out there, maybe, Andre.
So
are you stating that as a consumer, like you and I, if we walk into a retail establishment and we buy something, how does that translate from our sale to, let's say, Hannaford? We both know Hannaford. I mean, we both have Hannafords all around us for a retailer.
Right.
And then how the Hannaford takes that data and then it's confidential to other retailers. Are you saying that like our purchase becomes confidential to other retailers, and how does like a consulting firm interact with like a Walmart and a Hannaford, but can't share the sales of Andre at Hannaford to Andre at Walmart?
No, that I think is pretty straightforward. I mean,
Okay.
you can't, if you're doing business with company A and you're doing business with company B, sure, you know those transactions, but you certainly can't share company A's transactions with company B. And
Okay.
you can't share company B's transactions with company A. Like those are two separate business relationships, and that segregation has to exist.
Exactly. Okay.
Confidentiality or whatever you want to call it. But what I'm saying more is all right, so let's say I'm making up an example as I go, so bear with me. Let's say you have a shop and I go in and you're selling apples, and I go in and I buy the apple, and then I bite into the apple and my tooth comes out. And you also happen to be selling dental or fake teeth or whatever like that. So ultimately your goal in selling the apple is really not to sell me an apple. What you're really trying to sell me is that fake tooth or whatever I'm talking about there. Like I'm trying to think like from that data perspective, like how many companies are out there? And I'm not saying that IRI is like this at all. This is just a side conversation that I was thinking. And what for, like, how many companies are out there like, hey, yeah, buy this, we're by default getting all your information. And then now that we have this information, outside of selling it to other people, which most companies will typically say, we will never sell your information. Some abide by that and some don't. But like, there are other ways that you could use that data to financially benefit. And I'm wondering like where that legal thing goes, because like, what's stopping these companies? My thing is like, all right, if I'm right, like, why aren't people doing this? Like, it seems like it would make sense to start focusing some data efforts into, you've got this huge base of information from like all of these people, you've got a huge demographic and you know so much about these people, and you're just sitting on it. It's like you're sitting on a gold mine. So what stops companies from doing?
I mean, layman's terms, I mean, it's just the legal aspect of it. I mean, you're right. I mean, some companies do, some companies don't. Companies shouldn't, but we all know that there are some companies out there that definitely sell our data in the aspect of, like our phone numbers that we give out, or email addresses, or, data around us in general. I guess I don't have a good answer to that, Andre.
Okay.
It's a whole legal system. If they breach the confidentiality of they stating that I'm not going to sell Jacob Hutton's data, um, but they do, then they're liable at that point. But
So what,
if they get found out, that's a key. They can sell it until they get found out.
so that's what you're saying. Like, you're saying the selling aspect, but I'm not saying selling it. Like, we already agree, you can't sell the data. That is
Okay.
illegal to do. But let's just say, from the sales in your area that 75% of the people that are buying are newlywed couples.
Okay.
So with that, if you were to look at that information, you're the only company in town that has that information, that knows 75% of the people are newlywed couples. You can use that data to come up with some analytics to say, well, there's going to be a lot of babies coming, so I should start selling baby stuff or start preparing a market for the babies that are coming. So as a company, like if I have this information, I'm not selling that data to anybody else, but that's information that I could use to
Okay,
benefit.
so you're saying you can adapt your business to the your insights based on the data. So like you
Yeah.
said, 5% of people are newlyweds. Most newlyweds will have a child within, say, the first 4 years or 3 years. Should I change my business model to adapt to them, the incoming baby boom that might hit my demographic?
But that's, maybe you don't change your business model. Maybe that's just part of your business model, like in adapting to those, in looking at the data that you're getting from whatever that source is, and then your business model is just, all right, just use the data and make up businesses based on what we can gather.
Okay, I guess, okay, you're looking more macro, I was looking more micro.
Yeah.
I was thinking the shop or the app or the dental equipment.
I zoomed way out.
I was zoomed in, you were zoomed out. Okay. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean that aspect. I mean, that's no different than any, consulting firm where they have these huge subsets of data and they're trying to read what the market's going to do. I mean, it's no different than what we're dealing with right now in an economy of, are we going into recession? Are we in a recession? Like, there's so much data that it's sometimes hard to read.
Yeah.
Because you definitely have your outliers in your situations. Like you said, 75% of the people in that data set could be newlyweds. But out of that, what are the age? What are the ages? Are they second, third time newlyweds? Are they 40s and the 50s?
Right.
Or are they, are they in the early 20s? So let's look at, deeper into that data. Are there that many babies actually gonna, surface from that? Because people are slowing down how many babies they're having right now, due to the fact that costs of everything's so expensive, childcare, formula, food, everything. So you got to take a lot more into consideration.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be that would be, if that's your business, then obviously I think you would dive into those.
Right.
I would hope that you wouldn't stop at newlyweds. Like that would
Of
be
course.
it.
I'm just giving an example further, like just because they're newlyweds doesn't mean what
Right.
are the age demographics, because we both know people get married multiple times in life sometimes. And depending on what part of the region of the United States, let's say when the United States you're in, is it an older population like Maine, or is it young population in California or so forth?
Yeah.
Like you said, you have to dive deeper to really find out what's happening here.
Has there been a computer run business yet? Like strictly not AI in a sense, but well, I guess it would be AI, but not really. Just something that's run on a simple logic program.
Excel.
Oh,
Um,
that would be kind of cool. That'd be fun to like try to do a business that's completely run on Excel based on just like some
The
logic.
only reason I say Excel is because Excel has so much rules, underlying logic written into it, that a simple data set can be manipulated so many different ways.
Yeah.
So once I think you started like a macro process, you could actually make a loop.
Mhm.
Once data gets dumped into it, it gets spit out into different sheets, and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
That's the only quick, off the top of my head, like platform I can think of that you doesn't need anyone once it started.
Yeah. Well, you would need someone to maintain it.
Well, yes, because
Ma-
Excel only has so much space.
I think,
Um,
yeah, you'd have to, so there would be the maintenance to make sure it's still running, but even that could just be done with reports, like out of whatever system, like system report, SQL, checking some files with PowerShell or whatever. I can't do any of that stuff, but I
neither.
know it exists.
But I mean, with Excel, you can dump into different tabs and then create new Excel workbooks and so forth. So it's like the capacity of Excel is not a limiting factor. You just have to find a way around it, how to create a new Excel workbook.
But then the question though is like, what are these workbooks doing? So if
Maybe
we're having
parsing
it,
data. So you get like a raw data set in and to be able to parse it out. That's my thought process.
so you take
It,
that
it,
data, you parse it out, and what's that data do?
that's a good question.
So I'm thinking immediately and the easy one is lottery numbers. Like one of my fraternity brothers, actually, I can't remember what the name of the company was, but basically all they did was get all the jackpot numbers, like all the lottery numbers across the country, and sell them to newspapers. And that was it. That's it. Like all the winning numbers, sell them to newspapers, and that was a business. And he sold it a couple years ago. But it would be something like that along those lines, where it's a retrieval from someplace into Excel workbook. So it would be a Excel workbook that has a link to a web or to a data source. It pulls in that information and then parses it out to something which makes money somehow.
That's every business. It makes
It's a-
money somehow.
Somehow.
I mean, the business you just described is the simplest business I could think of. I mean, isn't the numbers public knowledge? The winning numbers?
It had to be because he's collecting them and selling
So
them.
it's already public domain knowledge, and he's just literally archiving the numbers and sending it to newspapers, and newspapers are selling, buying it.
Yeah.
Because essentially they didn't have the labor or to do this.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's kind of like grocery delivery at this. Like, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pay you some money and you're gonna pick up my food and bring it to me. Okay, whatever.
If it worked, I mean, that's actually one of the most ingenious business ideas, because it took so little, I wouldn't say little effort, but little capital to probably
Yeah.
get started. And you just need to get your network up.
Yeah.
Established.
It's pretty great. And especially if in like a small area like here, or especially like in someplace where you live, where it's a little bit more rural, and I don't know how far away from your grocery stores and stuff most of your area is, but I know there are other places that are much more rural than that. That's like perfect. I don't know if people in that area are necessarily keen on paying for that because they're probably used to a lifestyle at this point, but certainly in this area, it's helpful.
So the more rural areas, I mean, at least where I am, I don't have like in Hannaford, for example, that's the largest retailer out here. Near me, the closest one's 30 minutes away. So
That's it. So would you pay for a delivery? Would it be
no,
convenient? No.
absolutely not. Because since I live so far away from everything, I like going into, Westbrook, Portland, Scarborough, where it might be Saco, Biddeford, because there's other things I need to get done within my week, within my month that I want to see and do. So I
Right.
just stop on the way home from grab Hannaford or Walmart or Market Basket. I never go to Shaw's because I hate Shaw's. That's a whole different topic. To get my groceries. At that point, I think maybe I'm a little bit more old school thinking. I don't want no one picking out my groceries. Definitely comes to the fresh food, the produce, the proteins, and so forth, because I'm very picky of the steak I want. I know the
Right.
marketing I want, and it's just how it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd rather go and pick it myself and spend my time knowing I have a good steak than someone in high school that has no idea about proteins or a good steak or so forth, picking out my produce and my steaks.
Yeah.
I like food.
As you should. Are you still working out and stuff? I know you were for a little bit.
I was doing a challenge to help raise money for kids. And then my son, he's on summer vacation. He's home. Well, between work and trying to entertain a 4-year-old, working out got pushed to the side. So as of right now, I am not working out. I plan on bringing it back up once he goes back to school. I'll also be coaching at that time, so I have to keep up with my middle school boys running around on the soccer field.
I was gonna say you do soccer, right? Yeah.
Yes, soccer. I'm doing soccer. I play soccer on Wednesdays. My son plays soccer 2 days a week, and I'll be coaching 4 days a week in August. So my life revolves a lot around soccer.
Can you do all the juggling tricks and stuff?
I can do some of the juggling tricks.
Next time we get together, you have to show me.
That way I can do that. Maybe one of these times we'll do a podcast at your place,
Perfect.
and I can bring a soccer ball. Like I said, I call myself an amateur. I'm a very passionate amateur.
You're a humble amateur. or humble professional.
Yes, because I know there are many, many, many people in the state of Maine that are better than me.
Yeah,
So just I just like going out when I play my men's league, just have fun,
yeah,
to exercise, to enjoy the game. It's not so much, the winning the game. I think our league, my team in the league went, I think we won 3 games or won 2 games, tied one, lost 4.
Hmm.
So, we're average.
Yeah. You're getting out there having a good time though. That's all that really matters.
Exactly. We want to have a good time with some good old friends.
It's funny you talk about that idea. There's that idea of how good you are at something, and you have your own levels of, I don't know, acceptance of what's good or not. Like, but you've come a long way from what an average player might be. I don't know for sure. I'm
Yeah.
assuming, but just tonight before I came over here, there was I'd gone down to Center Point, and I've been doing a lot of like calisthenics, body weight exercises, trying to do a handstand and stuff. And somebody I work with has been doing that for like 6 years. And so we got to talking recently, and talking about like training together and stuff. And so we were over there, and he's doing his handstands and like moving his feet and like going in different positions. And me and a couple other people were like sitting off to the side looking at him. I'm like, wow, that's really good. And he's like, I was bad. It was like, I don't know what you just did, but that was great. I don't, but I completely get that. Like, it's,
Yeah. I
you,
mean, I know you've been really working on it, like your handstands and so forth, and just how your body posture in general, and your own body workouts and your own body weights, not using actual external weights. Maybe a medicine ball at the most. I mean, you got the lifting dumbbells and do bench presses and stuff. At least I
yeah,
don't believe you are. So I mean, in that aspect, I've seen your videos on Facebook. You definitely have greatly improvement. Sorry, my brain is completely gone right now. Greatly improving on what you first posted versus what you were doing with your challenge. It's very noticeable.
yeah, thanks.
And the same could be said, when I played soccer in high school, I was not that great. I was more effort than talent.
Mhm.
Can I put more brute force and conditioning into myself, because I don't have the talent with the ball to do all the tricks and the maneuvers that you see these professionals do, or these semi-professionals do. And ever since I joined my men's league, I've been working on like not so much of the brute force or like conditioning, because I don't have time to condition now like
Yeah.
I did in high school. But second, I'm just having more fun with the ball because there's not so much pressure on me to win a varsity game to get the playoffs.
Mhm.
Like, it's just out there having fun. So I'm doing more tricks than I wish I took my experience in high school less serious, and was
Yeah.
able to, put myself in the mindset I am now, because I've learned more in the last year with, how to control a soccer ball than I did in 6 years of playing in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a reality check too when I was, just in our careers, because we get so hyper focused on what we're doing in our careers day in and day out that maybe we just take a step backwards or a step sideways to look at something differently. How can we do this differently? Is there a better way to do this? I mean, everyone in business thinks that way. How can I make my job easier? But I'm trying to look at a different aspect of, how can we make the team's job easier? Or, I know I'm probably repeating what other people say, but the process easier. Um, because before I was so like hyper focused and just doing my work, and not so
Mhm.
much how can I make stuff easier.
Yeah. I think that's a tough one, especially for younger people who are just
Yes.
starting in it, because I think younger people always have an expectation of what the workforce is like, and for whatever reasons, and I think some people are fortunate to get put in early to situations where they're not great. It's like it's tough, and because that whole idea of learning how to make things easier and like taking the initiative to like start to make things easier because you've gotten so much crap thrown on you or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like there's no other choice but to make things easier or just be miserable. But yeah, I think it's such a tough lesson to learn. So it's great that you're learning that now.
So the most memorable experience of I realized I need to make my job easier was the previous role I was in before this in the IRI. So I was hyper focused into supply chain. That's what was my role. It's supposed to be like a SME and delivery and aspect of it. So I got into client meetings a lot. Why was this a hand split, or why was this project not done, or what's the time frame on it? And I gave some obscure answer that was probably not the best way to present something. Like we all have probably once or twice. And I literally got pulled out of that meeting by not my manager, but my manager's peer, and got ripped a new one. I'm like, okay, I need to do something different because I can't keep doing this where I don't have the information at all and trying to explain something to a client. So, this process to a client that they have no idea about.
Right.
And it's lack of information all around. But they have to get their information to report to their direct, supervisors and so forth. Because at the end of the day, it's all money driven,
Yeah.
So I definitely had to find a way to do that, and it ended up me just creating a PowerPoint of this is it, what we have established. This is our benchmarks. This is our SLAs. But SLAs aren't solidified. They're not in stone. This is a very liquid SLA. It could be, we can get it in a week, or we can get it in a year. We don't know. But at least it gave them a visual of what we're trying to establish versus just stating something, because it felt more sincere that we're putting, at least I was putting more effort into the conversation, not just blurting out dates that had no integrity whatsoever. And I knew they had no integrity because I had no control over them.
Right.
And I guess that's the hardest point I had to deal with in that situation, was I had lack of control on when stuff was going to be done because of cross-functional teams.
Yeah, those are some of the worst situations, I think, when you have zero control, but you're just a messenger at that point. And you want to go with that, don't shoot the messenger, but at the same time, there's a bit of responsibility on you and figuring out what that responsibility is. Depends on whatever the role is. Maybe it's to comfort the client, or maybe it's to dig in on to get whatever those deadlines are, solidified, or find that confirmation of trust, whatever the situation is. It's a tough middle ground to be in, for sure.
Oh, you don't have to tell me, Dre. I know. I had some good heated conversations about all that. So your chessboard.
Yeah. Some squirrels, actually. I'm surprised they didn't go off with all the pieces. I made a mistake last week. I had some beer nuts out here, and they'd been out here forever, but the lid was on, and I did a good job of keeping the lid on. And I was eating them when Pat was over here and we were doing the podcast, and I guess I didn't put the lid on enough. So I'm assuming it was a squirrel came and this is all torn up. Like, these are all little bits of plastic from the lid of the beer nuts. And all of these chess pieces were all knocked out. And I think, like, one of the only reasons I noticed it was because I was outside, like, working out, and I was like down in a stretch, and I saw a pawn on the grass. I was like, what the hell? Why is there a pawn out here? And sure enough, but that was the only piece that got taken out, which I was pretty psyched. But do you play chess?
I do play chess, actually. So next, when I come over to the podcast, I'm actually kind of excited about that, to play you in chess, because I like how you think, and I'm wondering if we would use the same strategy.
What's your strategy?
Oh, I'm not telling you.
Damn.
You'll find out when I play you.
So far, our strategy is the same. We don't tell each other's strategies.
Isn't that the business world as a whole?
I think so, maybe.
And then they spend millions of dollars with consulting firms to build a new strategy. The world goes round.
Yes. So we won't play for money, because you'll just screw me out of money like you did on poker the first time you came over and played. So
Hey, you know what? I think you've made your money back on me more than once now.
It could be.
You know what it was? I didn't drink that much when I first started playing with you for reasons we don't need to establish here.
Fair
Um,
enough.
and then, as time went on, I started drinking a lot more when we started playing. I think that does not help me.
I made, have you ever made prison wine before?
I have not, but is that with the Welch's grape juice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I did it. I did it last week and poured it last night. And it was good. We did I did orange. It was like a pineapple orange one and a grape one.
How long
And
did it take you to do? Like
a
the
week.
fermentation process?
A week.
That's not bad.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad at all. We were around when we were brewing beer.
No.
Yeah, so we were brewing beer and it was about the same. Like we did one batch that was like a double fermentation. So, and I almost did that with this because you can double ferment it and add it on another week, but it was good and easy.
I'm actually excited you brought that up. So my younger brother is most likely going to be inheriting a blueberry orchard,
Oh,
and it's my grandfather's. He's getting older. It's only a matter of time, unfortunately, because
mm,
it's life. So my younger brother is the one who's really stepping up, starting to maintain it and so forth, and wants to take it over. It's probably about 300 high bush blueberry trees. So it's a pretty big orchard, and he's looking at different ways to increase revenue. And I was like, blueberries, blueberry wine, because obviously that's what my life right now is wine, because that's what I do day to day. I talk to wine manufacturers. I'm like, well, wait, let's not do blueberry wine. Let's do blueberry mead.
yeah.
And I was like, how do you do that? And I got Googling it, obviously, because like everything you do now, you have to Google it. Google's the big dictionary of the world. And I was looking, wow, I mean, this is a unique process. And I'm like, so I'm looking now into like the laws in Maine of, if you can brew mead and what's the regulations behind it and everything. And I found out that you can brew 100 gallons per person in your household legally,
Okay.
but you cannot sell it. For you to sell it, you need, I can't, I have to actually look at the paperwork. It's been a few weeks I've looked at it. I only briefly skimmed over it, but you need all kinds of like high-end equipment and everything, and you need like a place to actually make it that's not your house. And it gets very expensive because then you need all the licensing, all the permits, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to get into this.
Is
But
that
to my
it?
brother, like if we went down that route, I'd definitely help him in that aspect because I find that stuff fascinating. And there's not too many blueberry meads or even blueberry wines on the market.
No.
I mean, I have like, I have the syndicated data of all BWS on my fingertips at work, and I did a poll of all blueberry wines. I think there's less than 10.
Less than 10 in
Yeah,
Maine?
in the United States.
In the United States.
Blueberry wine,
Maine's like a prime spot for that. Like
right?
blueberries.
And I think it's because blueberries are very hard berry to maintain and pick, definitely the high bush ones, because you can't rake them. Like you do like the wild blueberries in Maine. You rake the small bushes and you go back and rake it again. You can't do that with high bush. It's just not how they're grown and how they're maintained. You'll
Is that
kill the
what,
bush. So you have to go. Sorry, go ahead.
is that what the blueberry meads are made from? The high bush ones?
Most of the time, because they're larger and they're more sweet. So yeah, I mean that's something I was like dabbling in briefly. I mean, I could definitely still make it. Like you said, what'd you call it? The jailhouse wine.
Yeah, prison wine.
Prison wine. That's what sparked my memory of the whole blueberry mead. Because I was like, I can make to my wife and I 200 gallons of blueberry mead. I mean, that's a lot of alcohol.
Let's test it. Let's try it. See how it comes out.
Actually, I have all the stuff to do it. I have the bottle, everything over there. My brother's he's giving me a heck the last 2 days because he wants me to start the process. Um, I gotta get on it.
Why isn't he doing it?
He tried it. He says it came out like shit.
Oh,
So he wants me to try it and put a twist on it than what he did and see if I can make it taste any better.
yeah.
Mead's was very sweet because mead's made with honey. Instead
Yeah.
of using sugar, you use honey because honey is the sugar. It's natural sugar.
Yeah.
That's why mead's also more expensive than wine is because honey is more expensive than sugar.
So what's the ratio? Do you know? Or
I don't know off the top of my head. I can look into it. I was looking at actually buying honey by the 50 or 60 gallon buckets.
well, if you're making 100 gallons per person in your house, then
Ratio of berries. I'm gonna do a quick Google search. So you need 1 pound of honey, 1 to 2 pounds, depending how sweet you want it, how much alcohol content you need, a want per 5 gallons of the desired mead you're trying to make.
that's not bad.
No.
1 to 5, yeah. Doable. Yeah, I want to start making mead now. I'll make prison mead.
Prison mead. I am gonna make a blueberry mead. Maybe next time we hang out, I can bring some over. I gotta make it and put the effort in and stop being lazy and procrastinating.
I tell you what, when I had the when we were doing the brewing stuff, Candy had gotten me the kit for Father's Day. And so she got me like the whole jug and the whatever mix, and then all the materials, the buckets. And I've still got it all down in the basement, but it sat there for so long before like finally brewed. I think it was down there for like 2 years or so, and Candy would keep bringing it up like, are you ever gonna brew? Are you ever gonna brew? It's like, maybe I want to, but
It's like that whole like gotta get off the couch and do it aspect. Like you know it's there, you know you gotta do it. The laundry's not gonna fold itself, but I really
Yeah.
don't want to do it right now.
Yeah.
I have different things like preoccupying my mind.
Something else has taken up that space. I've got beef jerky up in the cupboard, and like a beef jerky mix to make your own, because we've got a one of those Ninja dehydrator slash convection oven slash everything else. And I was super excited to get that beef jerky for Christmas, the beef jerky mix. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get the meat, and I'm gonna make the beef jerky. And I looked at the directions and just like, that's just so much work for some beef jerky. Like I can just, when I go to the store to buy the meat, I can buy the pack of beef jerky that I want to eat. Like,
But that's where they get you, Andre. You're paying 2 to 3 times more.
yeah, but I have a full day.
True. Instant satisfaction.
So what, I haven't looked at the GoFundMe's or anything yet. And like, did you listen to that video or watch that video of the what crowdfunding for?
I did. So I was looking at the crowdfunding. I'd have to rewatch it to, remember the details of it.
Yeah.
But I did watch briefly, yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that, and he had mentioned a couple things on there outside of GoFundMe. So the GoFundMe is like the community organized ones or whatever. And then there were specific business ones, and there was like 2 or 3 that he had mentioned by name that I meant to look up, because I think those fall into what we were talking about. And it's interesting listening to like the rules and how they've changed within the past 5 years or so.
Yeah, because when I listened to it, like I said, I might be butchering the numbers because it's been a while since I listened to it. It was like someone couldn't invest more than $20,000 of their income, and or once they get past a certain threshold of income that they make per year, it wasn't past 15 and 20% of their overall income.
Yeah.
Unless you were considered an angel investor and you had a net worth of, I can't remember, I think it was over $1 million.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like I said, I might be butchering the numbers, my bad. But it's very limited to who you could ask for money from, unless they were an angel investor.
Right. And then there was also, you couldn't, there was the individual, and then I thought there was, there was a cap on what you could take from private outside of the angel investors, but maybe
There probably was a cap, if I remember right. I am have to go back and watch that again. Because I remember listening to that actually on my way back from my soccer nights. There and back, I was listening to it. It was actually really interesting, and then I realized how many regulations were behind
Yeah.
asking people for money. it's actually very like locked down.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it used to be super locked down, and they opened it up with 2 articles. I think it was like Article 3 or Article 4, whatever the
Yep.
names were, but they opened it up so small businesses could kind of have a level playing field. Because if you think about it, having all those limitations, and if you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur that's got an idea that wants to put it out there, chances are your background isn't one of like a huge networking, and you're going to be reaching out to the angel investors and stuff. Sure, there are those people out there, but most of the people that are the entrepreneurs or the introverts that aren't going to go out and make those connections that way. So it's nice to that whoever regulates that has recognized that years ago to say, hey, let's open it up, let's give these platforms a chance to bring it on a different level.
No, for sure. Wait, no, we don't have all kinds of Elon Musks.
We don't. I've been looking. He's the only one.
When you were like explaining like who most people aren't, I'm like, well, you really described Elon Musk. Anyway, sorry, I had to throw that 2 cents in there.
Richard Branson.
Yeah, Richard Branson.
Although he's kind of fallen off the public. I like you don't.
Yeah, I think he's more behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He deals behind the scenes. Elon's definitely taking the front stage of the public's eye due to the fact of his companies and so forth, because of his electric, cars and the Boring Company and the Neuralink. I find the Neuralink very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
That's not very talked about, and how he wants it to be like the new medical device of the future for brain injured or incapable people.
Yeah.
But with that, anytime you start talking about the brain technology, people start to get a little skittish.
Yeah.
Not so much zombies, but what can they do if they're fixing your brain? What can they do behind the scenes while they're fixing your brain?
Right.
You get all kinds of conspiracy theories. They start, and you know what I mean. You and I could talk probably hours on just that one subject, but I do find that that company, the most fascinating out of all of them.
Yeah, I was really interested when they first started promoting that. Was it last year or the year before, where they had the video or the presentation with the pigs and the so I was watching all that, and I actually sent in a application like to for whatever one of the jobs there. Sent in a cover letter, a resume, and everything. It's like that'd be awesome to work there.
It would be.
That
I
stuff
feel
is,
though I'd be the dumbest person in the room.
you know what? You would be surprised. You go to a lot of places and you think, oh man, everybody's going to be 10 times better. And then come to find out it's just like high school all over again. And there are people that play the game well enough to look smart.
Stop talking about me, Andre.
I wasn't sure if I was going to come out as smoothly as I wanted to on that, but good catch.
Yeah. We all do it.
We yeah, the with that brain thing and it's kind of funny because you think about the conspiracy theory thought and what's going to happen if they go in and what are they going to put in your brain and all this stuff. But surgery has been around forever, and it's not like we're as a society, at least. I'm sure there are people who are anti-surgery, but like what can they do in your body, like when people open you up and all that stuff, or even brain surgery. Now who's to say that they can't implant something now that you don't know about along the way? So I feel
that aspect's very true. I just feel like it hasn't crossed that gray area yet, because actually stating that you're gonna cut open someone's brain or drill into someone's skull to implant a small chip or device and know it's there and can be adjusted at any time to get, because it needs updates and so forth, just like any technology would, to maintain, as you and I were talking about with Excel. initially maybe it's good, but since it's already there, can it start becoming a negative aspect of, can it be hacked?
Yeah.
I mean, all technology has limitations.
Looks like
And
there were smart cars, right?
right. And then now you start going down that route of, it's not so much the companies that say Neuralink is 100%, I don't know what the word I want to use right now, capable of not doing anything bad with this technology, right? They're honest, they're true.
Okay.
But a hacker comes along and hacks the product. What can they do now based on Neuralink's technology?
Mhm.
You're starting to get down a whole different rabbit hole. And there's many
Yeah.
different rabbit holes that you can start to go down as well. I mean, that's just one of probably hundreds.
I wonder if there's like, I mean, there's got to be, if I were Neuralink, if I were Elon Musk, this is what I would do. Just have a kill switch in it. It's, you've got some sort of security feature in there that if it gets tampered with, it just kills it.
But if you kill it, then you put them back to being disabled.
The person?
Yeah, because the Neuralink was designed and established to help the brain injured to become less brain injured and be,
Right.
give them the life back. So if you put the kill switch in, I get what you're saying from the technology aspect, and you eliminate that liability, but then you have a different liability where you literally take someone that's disabled, make them so they're not disabled, and then you put the kill switch on, bring them back to disabled. So now you're taking all the humanity rights.
But
If you have someone's life in your hands, that you can kill switch it.
But that's somebody volunteering to do that, though.
Correct. So I guess then if
I'm in that situation, like I'm gonna say, if I were truly worried about that, I would prefer the kill switch option to becoming a Manchurian candidate.
No, I would too, but we both know there's people that would fight that.
And those were the people that wouldn't get the chip in the first place, I guess. So it's a moot point.
I mean, in a perfect world.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd volunteer for that chip. If they had like somebody coming around in Maine saying like, we're looking for volunteers to try out Neuralink, sign me up. I would do it in a heartbeat.
I'd be pretty much game. My wife would probably tell me no.
She doesn't have to know.
She would.
Jacob just starts beautiful minding things. Have you ever seen that movie?
Say again?
Have you ever seen A Beautiful Mind? The movie?
I have not actually.
There's a reference that was lost on you right there. To check it out. I think Russell Crowe.
Okay.
A long time ago, but it's not like a Russell Crowe action movie at all. He plays some professor who's got a beautiful mind, and like that whole trope of seeing like numbers and stuff show up in air when people are doing math problems and stuff, that comes from A Beautiful Mind. Like he'd see the numbers in the air and all that stuff. Quality film from what I remember, though.
Sounds good.
So when are we getting our bottle and our chip?
Soon. I'm glad you got on this topic actually, because I bought a bottle of hot sauce. I think I told you about this actually. The hot ones, the last dab.
Oh yeah.
So I tried it. It's definitely good. I didn't try much of it on my wing because it was a dab. But I'm actually kind of excited maybe to do the thing you mentioned, the bottle, the chip, and then maybe some wings off to the side.
We could do a hot wings challenge. We did that over at me, Freddie, and Gary did it years ago. I was like, let's do a hot wings challenge, and we just went out and got.
That's what we did.
Sauces. Yeah.
I had like 9 different sauces, everything from like a basic like hot sauce that you just start with, to all the way up to mango habanero, and then we start getting into the really spicy ones. I'd be down to do that. I mean, I have all the hot sauces still. They're in my fridge. Because I'll get some wings.
Yeah, let's do it a couple weekends. I can't do it this week. Can't do it this weekend or next weekend. Sunday I could maybe.
Does Domino's deliver wings?
Yeah.
That'd be the easiest way to do it, because I don't want to deep fry my wings again. That took too long.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's probably about the same amount. Maybe paying a little bit more, but whatever. Worth it.
Yeah.
Worth
But
it.
Convenience.
Oh, you know what? We could go to Hannaford, pick up the little wing bar there.
Oh, they still do plain wings?
Yep. Yep.
That'd be work, yeah.
I know
'Cause-
Shaw's, I know Hannaford does at the one in Westbrook, or the one in Falmouth at least. But there, sometimes they mix it up. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Shaw's definitely does all the time though. I know how much you love that.
I'll let you go on the shots because I told you I don't go to shots. I'll eat product from shots. I just won't shop there. Then I get my dollar.
Yeah, fair enough. There's a skunk in here someplace or around the area. I smell it.
Yeah, so we definitely have to get that bottle. We have to order it soon. Not order it, but go purchase it. I don't need to order it. Blue
Yeah.
Label.
That can be our first GoFundMe.
There's two different blue labels.
There are.
One's 300, one's 200. What's the difference?
$100.
Oh, one's the year of the tiger.
Ooh. Is that this year?
I have no idea. That's my honest answer.
It's the year of the tiger. Actually, I think I saw that when I was looking it up. The year of the tiger one. Have you looked at that whole Johnny Walker site?
I have not.
They have so much more than I thought they had. Oh, I see one for $469.
Yeah, that's expensive.
That's a pricey bottle.
I thought we're splitting 200.
Yes. We do have to do this GoFundMe now, I guess.
Yeah, definitely for the $400 bottle.
It would be the most satisfying.
I mean,
purchase.
I am down. If you start the GoFundMe, I'll eat whatever spice you want me to.
We got to figure out how to do it. I don't know anything about crowdfunding.
We don't. Yeah, I don't either. I've never done it before.
Yeah, it'll be a learning experience. We'll figure it out. You come over, I don't know, sometime, or I'll go up there. What are you guys doing this weekend?
This weekend, I have Liam's soccer on Saturday at 11, and Sunday I had something planned with Courtney's family. I thought, why? What's up?
What? Sorry, I got sidetracked. So I had Googled or Microsoft Binged Blue Label, and on the side where they have, see results for, as well as everything else, I've got see results for Glock line of products. Glock is a brand of polymer frame, short recoil and then ellipses. It's a pistol, a gun. I'm like, I don't know how Blue Label and gun go together unless I go real dark, but
I don't know. It's interesting.
yeah,
And I found a more expensive bottle of Johnny Walker, 650.
650. Which one's that?
Johnny Walker King George V.
All right, we got to shoot for the sky. You know what? What if we just our thing? We'll get one bottle every time. Like we'll just try to get every bottle.
That'd be cool.
We gotta figure out how to shape that though.
Right,
Mark.
because we got to start with the red and then
Yeah.
go to the black. Is it the white after the black?
Uh,
Can't remember.
no,
Green.
the white is like before black, I think.
Hold on. Let's see this. I think it's red, black, double black, green, gold label, Johnny Walker age 18 years. Then blue label, then the Eye of the Tiger blue label,
Yeah,
and then Johnny Walker King George V.
I made it halfway up the ladder. Gotten up to green.
The green are really good.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, we'll put a PowerPoint on that shared, that Google Drive, and figure it out.
Yeah. Let's see. If people give us money to try Johnny Walker, I would be so happy.
It's doable. We're smart. We're smart guys. We can figure this out.
Yeah,
Easy.
I'm back to have to sleep on this now.
I think about the pet rock all the time, and I think anything can happen. If somebody can sell a pet rock,
I know,
any
right? Johnny. I'm gonna look it up right now, see if anyone has one out there. Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker GoFundMe.
Yeah. Let's search for Johnny Walker.
If you find him,
Unfortunately, we'd be the first ones, I think.
see, we're trendsetters.
I like it. Let's see. I'm gonna try this whiskey.
I wonder if there's any rules on there about purchasing alcohol, like funds for alcohol.
Yeah,
We,
that actually might be a thing.
we've got some research. We got this though. You
That
know
might
what?
actually be a thing because the GoFundMe doesn't know if you're of age or not.
We could start our own website and put proof of our age right there.
Should.
But then again, like, yeah, we'll figure this out. This is some sleeping on stuff for me.
No, for sure. And definitely next time we meet, I want to touch base on LinkedIn, different functions and capabilities of LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, I still gotta figure out what I'm gonna write for a recommendation, considering your butchering of my name in the message.
Copy paste didn't do me justice. Okay, I'm sorry.
At least it wasn't Andrea. I get that a lot, and it's like, no, I'm not Andrea. I'll take Andrew. Andrew at least is the English equivalent of my name. So
So when I did the copy paste, I did for a few individuals. The person in front of you had a W as the capital of the first name. So when I pasted in Andre, I got rid of like almost all the name but the W. So it was like Andre and then with the big W.
was their name? I'm gonna play guess the name. Was it Whitney?
Yep.
Male or female?
Male. And actually, give you more context, it was the last part of the name.
The
not
last
first.
part?
Yeah.
The
So
end of the name?
end of the name.
Oh, this is way too hard now.
Yeah.
Wait. Male, you said?
Male. It's a common name for male. It's not
Yeah.
like oh the ordinary.
Harlow.
No. Starts with an A.
That's a very
Ends with a
common.
W.
What? I have no idea. What is it?
Andrew.
Oh, it's the same name.
I know, I was just messing with you. It was literally an Andrew though.
That's
And that's why when I was literally sent it to Andrew, and then when I sent it to you, I saw Andre, and it kind of clicked off, like you quickly skim over something and then see the W. I was like, oh, and you pointed out, I'm like, shit.
Do you ever do that, like where you're copying, pasting and a lot, and then as you're doing it, you kind of think of more efficient ways to do it, so you switch up your
Yeah.
method like partway through? So it's funny when you were talking about that, all I could think of was, well, why didn't you just delete the W? You would have been fine, but you obviously weren't thinking that like in the moment. But
100%. That's a whole different conversation too. When I was a coordinator, I was doing mass reporting, the same reports every day, day in, day out. How do you change your keystrokes or the steps within the report to make it run faster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those little things add up so quickly.
Or do you just add one more computer?
Yeah.
Add another processor. And when you add another processor, it's not twice as fast, but because the human aspect, like you can't run two computers with two different keyboards as fast as you can run one with one keyboard. I mean, you can split your time up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a whole different conversation we can dive into.
That's kind of interesting. I wouldn't even thought of that. I don't think I've ever seen anybody come up with the solution of just add another. You're not talking about add another person, but add another computer so
Yeah.
that they can work on too. Huh.
Because when I was very macro driven, so some of the time when you're running a macro, you're not doing anything. So how do you manipulate the structure of your reports or the cadence of your reports? So when a macro is running, you're doing another manual step on the side with this second computer, right? So when that process is done, you flip it and run the macro on what you were working on, and then you go back over to the manual process on this one.
Yeah.
How do you manage that, and how, can you actually get it down to a T? Which I did get down a few reports to a T of, macro X ran at for 3 minutes. It took me 4 minutes to do this manual process. So I had a 1 minute of layover of the report not running. Versus if I have one computer, the macro runs for 3 minutes. I still have to do the manual process, but this report
You froze up.
here, it depends on how you grow yourself.
You still there?
I lost track.
Oh, my internet connection is unstable, it says. You still there? No.
Yeah, you're pretty butchy right now, Andre. Do you want
Yeah,
to call it for tonight?
yeah, we'll call it for tonight. And then, yeah, this is good. Covered a whole bunch of stuff, and we'll certainly do it again.
Yes,
You're always
definitely.
welcome every Thursday or any other time.
I
I am
appreciate it.
always up to talk and record and go over stuff. So I'm actually just looking for more time to do it. So anytime you're like, hey, let's do it on this time, I'm probably in. So
Awesome. Well, thank you. I mean, this is my first podcast ever, so hopefully that wasn't too bad.
yeah,
Definitely got my feet wet and broke the ice.
awesome. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, Andre.
$1,000,000fish.com. Yeah, that's my big plug. Anything for you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Bye.
Awesome. Take care, Andre.